So I'm trying to expand my horizons when it comes to anime, and I started venturing into the territory of romantic comedies, and I'm glad to say I did. So, Gamers is a anime romantic comedy following technically four gamers and one gamer's girlfriend throughout their trials of life, love, and misunderstandings. And it is freaking interesting. Like, it's a comedy. I mean, there's romance there too, but it's more of a comedy. The story follows our main character, Amano, and his friends Tendo, Hishinomori, Aguri, and Urahara. I almost got through all those names without screwing them up. But yeah, it follows these five people through their lives, you know, and love, things like that. The story is actually interesting, even though it centers around Amano and the love triangle kinda that he's in, and misunderstandings about who's in the love triangle, what's going on. And it's the story is one of those things that make it interesting, but the characters are what you stay for. You stay to see how these characters are how they're gonna end up, because the characters are actually really interesting. From Amano being this hardcore gamer, you know, kind of introvert type, to Tendo being a weird archetype of gamer who is like weirdly popular and social, but inside she is just like any other type of gamer, and she has the same kind of issues. She just doesn't show it because she's a social butterfly. You have Hishinomori, who is more closer to Amano as far as personality, but there's differences, and she's even more hidden off in some of the things that she does in the show. Then you have Aguri, you know, who's kind of like the non-gamer. She's kind of like the connection to regular people, you know, and she actually becomes, in episode 12 is kind of, she's a really interesting character too. And then you have Urahara, who basically was like a hardcore gamer that decided to change himself because, you know, he didn't want to be like a nerd, but he still wanted to be a nerd. So he was a nerd who was kind of posing as a really cool guy. And you want to see how these characters get through all the stuff that happens in the show. And it's pretty interesting. I mean, it takes the trope of like the misunderstandings in rom-com, specifically in rom-com anime, and it turns it up to 11, and it's not even bad. Like, at times it can kind of get annoying, but it's so funny when this stuff happens. It makes up for the fact that, oh, it's another misunderstanding, you know? So the animation and the sound. Alright, so basically, the animation and the soundtrack are pretty much what you would expect from an anime like this. The animation is pretty good, specifically in the OP. The OP is really, really good, and it sticks in your head. And there's so many references in the OP. Like, there's like a PUBG reference, a Smash Bros reference. They reference all kind of like obscure Japanese like SNES games. There's an RPG reference that I really can't get. I'm not sure if they're referencing RPGs or if they're referencing just fantasy stuff in general. But there's a Street Fighter reference. Like, there's all types of references in the OP to video games. And that kind of goes to show you that the whole aspect of video games aren't just like a paint job. The soundtrack is okay. I don't think there's a lot of music to it. There is one song that comes on when like just slice of life stuff is happening. I can't find that song anywhere. I like that, so I have to find that song somewhere. So the big part of these reviews are the pros and the cons, the good and the bad things about this show. So let's go.
という悶絶イベントを起こすためのガチャが今なら1回300円で回せます。
タナッチ、アグリ、それ100回回す。毎度ありです。
やめろ、俺を出しにうちの彼女をたぶらか。
So the comedy aspect of the show, the comedy is funny. This is not like a romantic comedy where it's like uber mushy, uber romance. Like this, to me, if you're somebody who likes romantic comedy, you're gonna like this. But this is definitely a good starter show if you're trying to get somebody else into romantic comedies, or if you want to. This is probably a pretty good anime to watch with your girlfriend, maybe until episode 12. But it's probably a good anime to watch with your significant other who doesn't watch anime or who doesn't watch, rom-com anime. Like somebody like me, I'm coming out of like, the shonen, seinen, action. Like I need tits, bombs, and violence to this. And this is kind of a good start. There's no tits, bombs, and violence outside of the games, but the comedy aspect is enough to kind of get you to stay. The characters are interesting. Like, you really want to see these characters succeed. You really want to learn more about them and learn how they're going to proceed from here. You get attached to the characters. And that's something that is important about any type of anime, specifically a rom-com or a romantic anime. Because if you don't care about the characters, you probably care less about the romance. And they make you care so much about these characters that, when one or more of the characters gets hurt, or they end up, not in the place you think they should be, it kind of feel it like, man, she got robbed, or man, he was so close. Like, you feel that for these characters. And it's weird, because I've never been like, even though I do make waifu videos, and I'm going to make another waifu video, I've never been in like the best girl type of thing. Like, I've heard about it, through all types of anime videos and stuff, but never been like, oh man, she was best girl. I had best girl in this show. Okay? More on that a little bit later. And probably one of the biggest pros of the show is the actual theme. This is a show about gamers. Like, they're not just like cute girls playing video games for like a couple minutes in the show and then they go off to do regular slice of life stuff. Like, no, like they use gamer terms and they think, well, I actually wouldn't say you wouldn't think like gamers, but they kind of do think like gamers. Like there's one part where they refer to a double date as like a boss fight or something, some type of difficulty in their relationship is like a boss fight. That kind of gets annoying, but because I'm a gamer and I have dated before. I'm alone now, but I haven't always been alone. So it's I don't think like that. Like, oh, it's a boss fight, I'm about to lean in. Like, no, that's no. But beyond that, the gamer theme is actually a big part of the show. Like, these characters are gamers. Like, there's one episode where he's trying to get this Uber game that he didn't pre-order, and there's a fly in here. Really? It's October. Freaking Virginia weather, man. Hate Virginia weather. But yeah, there's one episode where he's trying to find this game, and he didn't pre-order it, and the game is selling out like crazy. He's trying to fly the game. And then he ended up having to get sidetracked to do something else. But him chasing down that game was a big part of that episode. And then there's one big part of the story that is drastically changed by two characters' opinions on a type of video game. Like, that's stuff that happens to gamers. Like, I've had people who I was cool with, except when it comes to this. When it comes to this particular thing, nah, bruh, that nigga is lame. And that type of thing, it happens. Like, I'm still cool with people. It's just that when it comes to this, like, nah, bruh, you're totally wrong. And, that's one of those things that the gamers do.
っていうかさ、実際ちょっと値段高すぎじゃない？ゲームソフトってさ。ぎっくり。
And for the cons of gamers. So even a show like Gamers that does a lot right, it also does some things wrong. Something that could be construed as wrong. For one, the misunderstandings. Now they do take your traditional misunderstandings of a rom-com anime, because the whole thing about, you know, rom-com anime, it's like, oh, is he cheating on me? It's a misunderstanding. He's probably just helping her walk down the street, or, you know, he tripped and fell into her boobs or whatever. I mean, they don't go that bad, but these are the type of misunderstandings you see in anime. And these type of misunderstandings they take and turn up to 11 for the comedy factor, which actually works. But again, it's still annoying because you know full well that if you really think about this for another couple minutes, you could know that that's not what it seems. But they don't do that, because if they did that, it wouldn't be funny. Which, I understand why they did that, but it can be annoying at times. And the other con would be episode 12. So the last episode, technically, I want to say that most of the story aspect of the show ends in episode 11. Technically, you probably don't even really need to watch episode 12 if you're just here for like the story and you want to know how the relationships sum up and who ends up where and what status does everybody end up in at the end. That's really kind of wrapped up in episode 11 in the obligatory let's go to the festival that all rom-coms tend to have. And that really kind of wraps it up. Episode 12 is an interesting one because it's talking about like the negatives of gaming. Like in a time like this where loot boxes and microtransactions and studios getting shut down for not making money or stuff, when that stuff is prevalent now in gaming, having episode 12 is pretty insightful. You know what I'm saying? Like, it talk about DLC and how, you know, gaming companies are kind of screwing you over, and this is all coming from someone on the outside of gaming talking to a room full of gamers. And it's pretty interesting, but I would love to see some more stories. I want to see more story. I guess there was not any more story to really tell, or hopefully maybe there's a season 2 because of the next con I'm about to tell you about. Best girl got robbed. Alright, yes, I have a best girl in this show. Alright. My best girl got robbed in this show. I'm not going to tell you who. I'm not going to tell you what's going down with this character. But they got robbed. One of these 3 characters gets robbed. And their storyline does not get completed. The stuff that happens in their story never gets sorted out. And this is one of the reasons why episode 12 was to me, kind of made me a little bit mad, because you kind of wasted time where you could at least close some more of this cursed storylines. But they didn't. They just decided to, no, we're just going to end it here and that's it. I'm like, really? Like, even if one of these 3 didn't end up with Boy, the fact that there were other storyline stuff with them that didn't get closed was annoying. That's probably my biggest con with the show. And weighing both of these columns, I have to give Gamers a B. I was gonna give it a C. When I cut this camera on, this show was getting a C. Alright, because I was like, no, I was mad because I was connected to Best Girl and she got robbed. And I had to realize that, you know, I have to be objective. And the show is actually pretty good. This is definitely the quintessential entry anime into romantic comedies. You know, you'll come for the story, you'll stay for the characters and the comedy. So, that's about it. Check out my other anime review. I did a review on My Hero Academia. Check that out. Check out my first impressions videos. And I have a waifu video waiting in the wings. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, keep it real.